critical thinking engineering degree, the problem solving for me has been valuable. You know, the tools that I learned there and how to tackle problems, how to manage teams was definitely I use in everyday decision making. I also use then having a Master of Arts degree in international security studies. That has also been applicable, but I'm definitely very glad that I had that undergraduate experience in an engineering field, just from the problem solving aspect. Yes.
We have time for one more question, Lorraine.
Okay, so comments here about how, from Patricia, about how they feel that your qualifications and your characteristics are translatable to most people in the jobs that they're doing, but maybe a bit more rigorous in your job. And would you agree with that? That the qualities that you need are needed in any job?
I think so. I think that the thing that we do, we have to make decisions in very quick order, right? When you're flying any airplane, you're going fast, right? It's a lot of times life and death decision makings. It's the ability to react quickly. Now, when you're out of the airplane, now, you know, it's a lot of it. It's that the people oriented skills that are certainly translatable to any career field.
Right.
Thank you so much for sharing all your insights with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Commander Mintz, it's been wonderful. And now we're going to turn to Captain Hannah Krewalt from St. Joseph, Missouri, who was commissioned as an ensign in 1999 after earning a BS in oceanography from the U.S. Naval Academy, earning her surface warfare officer qualifications as part of the commissioning crew on the USS Roosevelt. She then did a tour on the USS O'Brien, followed by a stint at the Naval Postgraduate School, where in 2006, she earned an MS in engineering acoustics. This was followed by tours at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard, the Joint Task Force, Horn of Africa, Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti, Africa, as operations officer for J-34 engineers. She was type desk officer on the Commander Naval Surface Forces Atlantic N-43 staff, where she was instrumental in establishing Service Team 1, developing surface ship risk management instruction and lessons learned conference format. Captain Krewalt has served aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln and the USS Gerald Ford in recent years as chief engineer and project officer. She's received distinctions from the American Society of Naval Engineers, Junior Officer Engineering Duty Officer Diversity Award, Meritorious Service Medal, 1 gold star, Joint Service Commendation Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, 2 gold stars, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, 2 gold stars, as well as numerous campaign and unit awards. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. So I am doing a PDF viewer, so I apologize if some of the slides don't come up perfect, but we'll go with it. My presentation this morning is a little bit more personal. So when I think of myself as a naval officer, I think of all of the other things that go into me being the naval officer that I am. So I'm going to talk you through some of those items and basically how I got to where I am today. So I have been in the Navy, like Norland said, 21 years now. and have had just a blast doing everything that I have done that she very eloquently described. So thank you for that introduction. Thank you for inviting me to share a little bit of a piece of who I am and what I do. So with no further ado, we'll kick it off. So as you can see on this slide, I am the mother of two beautiful daughters. Ava is my redhead. She's the 9-year-old, and Victoria is 11, and she's the blonde. Both of them are dancers. Ava loves to also play soccer. So we were up early this morning out at the soccer fields playing soccer. Victoria started dance at 8:45 and won't be done until after we're done on this. So she is in the competitive dance group. So she's a pretty phenomenal, both of them are phenomenal little ladies. So I'm very proud. I am excited. I think my mama, Karen Kessler, is online watching. So thanks for dialing in, Mama. Let me know how I do. My father, George Kessler, recently passed away a couple of years ago. So I am the daughter of George and Karen. My father also was a chaplain in the Navy. I'm the sister of George Jr., who is also a captain in the Navy. He and his family are stationed in Naples, Italy right now. My sister, Mary, just recently retired after 20 years as a supply officer. She retired out of Portugal and now lives in Alabama. My little sister, Lydia, also was in the Navy. She did just her initial commitment. She was an ROTC grad. She is now a mom of two amazing little girls and is married to a Marine Corps pilot and is living down in Swansburg, North Carolina. My younger brother has an interesting history. He's an inside machinist. He's supported all armed forces and now lives out in Hawaii, continuing to work as an inside machinist. You can see all the states I've lived in. I've also lived over in Japan, traveled to Australia, some in Europe. So definitely got to see the world. Owner of 2 homes, and I'm a cat mom. So that's really who I am. Really, the only Navy pictures you're going to see from me are these 2 little ones of the Gerald R. Ford, which is funny because the Ford is all consuming. I am what's called the program manager's representative for the Ford. That means that the program manager, who is Captain Metcalf in Washington, D.C., he reports up to PEO Carriers, who is a 2-star admiral, Admiral Downey. And I work at the supervisor of shipbuilding, Newport News. We're co-located with Huntington Ingalls Newport News Shipbuilding, who constructed the Ford and are also constructing the JFK as we speak. We are finishing up what's called her post-delivery test and trials period, where we have basically kind of knocked the dust off of all the systems and are working all the bugs out of everything. There's a whole slew of tests and trials that are required in order to fully test out the platform, to include full ship shock trials that's coming up this summer. So that's what I am currently prepping for. So my girls would tell you, I am on the phone 24/7, and that's what I spend a lot of time talking about. So I did want to, I think it's important to personalize who we are, because especially as a woman in uniform, and I know there's been a lot in the press about women vets, it's kind of hard to tell who we are, because we are just kind of normal people, right? And unlike the guys that serve, our haircuts don't always give us away. I think that's also, though, one of the beauties of being a woman in uniform, is that I get to explore all these parts of who I am. So I'm definitely a mom. You can see Victoria and Ava there. These are my daughter photos. Like I said, my father did serve. The picture there on the beach is when we went, actually the first time I think that all 5 children were together with my mom was when we had my father's celebration of life. So that's down in Pensacola, where we did that celebration, and where my mom currently lives and is retired. I'm a sister. Like I told you a little bit about all of my siblings. the picture there in the middle, with my mom and me in my midshipman uniform is one of my favorites. My older brother had already been commissioned at that time and had come back. But I'm definitely goofy. That's me in the clown outfit too, which is kind of funny. Anyway, I'm a friend, right? So, I think it was Leslie that talked about, making sure that you have a good support system. And I cannot agree more with what she said. And it's not just the tribe, outside of the Navy, which I definitely needed and use as a single mom, but it's also that tribe inside of the Navy. As I talk later in some of these pictures, I'll point out a couple of the women that I have just had wonderful relationships with that are also trailblazers. But by bonding together with these other women that I've forged these friendships with, I have this whole network of folks, which I think you can relate to, within your organization, women that are like-minded and that are goal-driven, not just at work, but at home, and are just really striving to be the best holistic person, that we can be. So these are pictures of my tribe. And then me as an officer, I will tell you, I think one of my favorite tours is the tour of when I was the chief engineer of the Abraham Lincoln. That was during her refueling complex overhaul. So as the chief engineer, I owned all the distributed systems on the ship, all that we call them hotel services. It's quite a responsibility. You have, about 450 sailors that work for you. In my instance, coming out of a refueling complex overhaul, we execute about 33% of a ship's maintenance is executed during that 4-year window. So getting through the testing program, the steaming testing program, in order to bring that ship back to life is no small feat. I was blessed to have my mom and dad come live with me there at the end so that they could help with the girls as we were, getting underway and doing all the rest of the shakeout. But, just wonderful opportunities. The guy that promoted me to commander is now my boss at Soup Ship. Beth Silsdorf, the gal down in the lower right-hand corner, she put on my cover. She is recently retired and is the head of diversity and inclusion at Newport News Shipbuilding now. Mary Jackson here at the bottom, I guess she's on my left side, but if you're looking at it, she's on the right of the slide. She actually ended up being promoted and just recently retired as a flag officer, but she was the first woman to command Naval Station Norfolk, for instance. Anne Phillips, who is to my other side, she was actually my older brother's commanding officer at one point, and both of those admirals helped me significantly with women's waterfront symposiums, where we reached out to young ladies across the waterfront to help them understand how they could manage a career, a family, and keep going. On the other side of the slide, you can see some other really important people. I'll talk about Jennifer Boykin later, but Diana Wolfson and Vice Admiral Caldwell are both in that slide. That was during our sea trials period as we delivered Lincoln. So why did I join the Navy? Like I said, I have a military family, and just like, the other lady said, it's a great education. I went to the Naval Academy. I really have been in the Navy all me blooming life, if you will. From the time I was a teenager till now, it was funny, as I was preparing for this, I was talking with my daughter on the way home, and I told her that, when I first graduated from the academy, I never dreamt that I would be still in the Navy today. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you didn't want to stay? And I was like, no, I was going to get my education, do my initial tour and get out. And she's like, wow, like she couldn't imagine me ever feeling that way. So it's interesting, how life is just such a journey, and it really is adventure, right? So I never stopped having fun. And I think that's so important to remember and stay focused on as you explore whatever opportunities are given to you. For those of you that are in college or, recent graduates or getting ready to graduate, you got to have fun no matter what you're doing. Otherwise, it's just going to be drudgery, if you will. And the Navy offers us opportunities. I've done everything